How do you ensure that your buyer wins in a multiple bid scenario? We're going to go over that today step by step. Stay tuned. This episode of Keeping It Real is brought to you by Real Geeks. How many homes are you going to sell this year? Do you have the right tools? Is your website turning soft leads into interested buyers? Are you spending money on leads that aren't converting? Well, Real Geeks is your solution. Find out why agents across the country choose Real Geeks as their technology partner. Real Geeks was created by an agent for agents. They pride themselves on delivering a sales and marketing solution so that you can easily generate more business. Their agent websites are fast and built for lead conversion with a smooth search experience for your visitors. Real Geeks also includes an easy-to-use agent CRM. So once a lead signs up on your website, you can track their interest and have great follow-up conversations. Real Geeks is loaded with a ton of marketing tools to nurture your leads and increase brand awareness. Visit realgeeks.com/keepingitrealpod and find out why realtors come to Real Geeks to generate more business. Again, visit realgeeks.com/keepingitrealpod. And now, onto our show. Today's episode is brought to you by Corded.io. Are you looking for agents to join your brokerage or team? Now, as a real estate recruiter, I can tell you the answer is always yes. But most agents aren't looking to move right now. So how do you know who to contact? Well, what if I were to tell you there's a recruiting and retention tool powered by artificial intelligence that shows you exactly which agents in your local market are looking to leave their brokerage right now and which agents at your own firm are also looking to leave you? Now, I've been recruiting realtors for 15 years and I've hired over 2,000 agents. I can tell you with no exaggeration, this is the tool I've been waiting for. Corded's AI looks for trends across dozens of variables for each agent in your market and shows you which agents they believe are likely to move. Not only does it do that, but Corded's AI went and visited my recruiting website and read everything I offer. So now when I'm recruiting, Corded's AI tells me exactly what to say based on that agent's needs and what my brokerage can offer. It even writes emails for me. I've never seen anything like it, and I use it every single day. Now, if you are looking to grow your brokerage, Corded.io is the best tool out there. Visit Corded.io to schedule a demo. Again, that's Corded.io. And now, onto the show. Welcome to Keeping It Real, the largest podcast made by real estate agents and for real estate agents. My name's DJ Paris. I am your guide and host through the show. And in just a moment, we're going to be speaking with Ben.lalez. We have our special episode, our monthly episode called Better Business with Ben. Well, let me tell you about Ben. Ben.lalez is a Chicago real estate agent with Compass. He is the founder and the owner of the Ben.lalez team, and they have dozens and dozens of agents here in Chicago serving all of Chicagoland. Ben is one of the very top teams in all of Chicago. Out of 46,000 agents, he's in the top 2 or 3 teams. Amazing producer, top 1%er, and really a visionary, somebody who is really a thought leader in this space. And I'm excited to have you on again, Ben.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for coming to my neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's promote something for you. So where would we want Ben.lalez team on Instagram? And what is your website? I think is particularly interesting. I'd like our agents and our viewers and our listeners to check it out because you did something very against type with your website, which is you pulled a lot of stuff out and you made it very simple, but very clean and very unique. And I think it's really effective.
Yeah, we want people to come and if you're a buyer or a seller, just hit one button and not be confused at all about where to go. So yeah, we built it ourselves. We're not particularly proud of it, but now I'm proud of it because you should be. You just hyped it up.
I like it. It's really clean. The colors are really simple, and I love the fact that again, it's this don't make me think. And I like the fact that again, against trend, you pulled off the home search, and and believe me, I totally understand why you do it. We have this argument in our company all the time. Do we want the home search or not? And it doesn't do us any good. But people, I guess, maybe they like to see it, but they don't use it.
It's an SEO play, isn't it? Isn't it about index pages and keywords on-site keywords?
It does not help us at all.
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't know how many. We do have it kind of hidden,
Yeah.
but like, I don't know how many people have actually ever set up a search on ben.lalez.com.
They've got Zillow. They don't need
They've
you.
got other places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Ben comes on every month, and he is somebody I look up to in this industry. He's always thinking far ahead,
This guy.
and he's always got great ideas. So what do we want to talk about today? Well, I always actually, Ben and I were talking beforehand. We're trying to think what would be a great topic for today. And really, I always like to solve problems. So we were thinking about what are some of the big challenges realtors are facing right now across the country. Inventory seems to be a massive one, but we're not going to tackle inventory as much today. We're going to talk a little bit about what, with the inventory that is out there, how do you win deals?
Yeah, so we're going to talk about winning in multiple offer situations. I am really lucky in that because we have 30 plus agents, and we're one of the biggest buy side teams in the entire city, and we're ranked in the country now. Is we just have a ton of visibility over how many offers on X number of properties. What is our win rate? What is our cancellation rate? And we just have a ton of data to show and support what is actually winning in these offers. So we want to get into it. So let's first identify the problem, I would say. So right now, as you've said, there's a lack of inventory, and depending on which submarket you're in Chicago, you're entering these situations, or our buyers are entering these situations where there's 2, 3, 4, just the other, this last weekend, 8, 10 offers. And the worst problem for a real estate agent is, great, you have spent, I don't know how much time, energy, money sourcing this buyer, and the time finally comes where they're like, hey, DJ, Ben, whatever, whoever you are, let's write an offer. And the worst thing is losing. So not only do you, not make the sale, your buyer doesn't get the property, and you risk, honest to God, losing them, because whether it's true or not, they have to blame someone. And more often than not, there's only one person to blame. So that's the problem. And the solution, we're going to talk about what the solution is, right? So there's a few things at play, and I want to touch on 3 of them. The first one being is this all starts, in our opinion, with the buyer consultation and setting the expectation with your buyer around what the hell is going to happen in their home search.
Yeah.
I would argue that 95% of problems can be gotten out ahead of in a buyer consultation. And, we've been doing buyer consultations even before, the big change in August. We didn't really get buyer agreement signed, but now you have to get a buyer representation agreement signed anyway. So let's do it in a formal setting. Let's sit here face to face. And what your job is as a real estate agent is to explain the process. This is how it's going to go. And then also, depending on the market, the submarket that your buyer's looking in, hey, this is what you can expect when we offer on a property. Don't be surprised when it's a multiple offer situation and I come to you and, say these words, as is, a, appraisal gap waiver. And you need to, put these ideas in your buyer's head on the front end so that when the time comes, they're not resistant to you.
Are you going into really specifics about what is an appraisal gap?
Yep.
What is an as-is clause?
Yep.
You're going in and saying, okay, so just so you know, if this happens, here's how to interpret it. Here's what we'll do as a result.
Yep.
Got it.
So our buyer consultations are like an hour and a half, and we
Smart.
try to go into as much detail as possible, especially in a competitive environment. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want my agents to waste their time. I don't want the buyers to waste their time. And I don't want it's just, if you're not setting expectations appropriately with your buyers, you're killing them and you're killing yourself. So yeah, we go into everything. We talk about what as is means on paper, but more importantly, what it actually means in context. There's a huge fallacy, especially here in Chicago. Buyers think that they can't perform an inspection or they can't ask for credits or repairs. And on paper, you're not supposed to ask for credit or repairs. But depending on your relationship with the other agent, and that's something that we're going to get into, that's the second thing, you can still ask. There's what is on paper and what is in practice. And that's something that we express to our buyers. So that's as is. We express what actually matters in the appraisal gap waiver so that they understand what's going on. Anyway, so that's the whole buyer.
So, yeah, I want to get clear. So you're having this conversation with the buyer before ever seeing a property?
Yes.
Gotcha. And that could be a change. So in the past, a lot of times the school of thought was if they know what they want to go see, go show them that first, and then get them to the property, and then have that explanation or that conversation. You're doing that now before.
Yeah. So, and I'm also
Well, you have to with commissions now too.
Well, you have to, but I'm also leaving out a whole other part. It's like I'm talking about how to win in multiple offers, and you have to expectations.
Sure.
So there's a whole host of other benefits to doing this, like making sure they can actually qualify, getting them in touch with a lender, etc.
Sure.
It's the most important thing. You're saving yourself so much time, and you're increasing your odds of transacting with this person when you get in a room and you explain to them a few things. A, this process is hard, right? B, you need me.
Right.
And C, I'm an expert. And we always say, like, it's a scary process, and you want to be the person who's the voice of reason and to calm those fears.
And it's really competitive right now.
Yeah. So let's get into the competition. And then what we try to express to buyers is two things. One, we try to get this across. My job is to tell you what it's going to take to win on this property. I don't really I'm going to say care if you win or not, but my job is to do a few things. That is to have a really great relationship with the other agent, really understand the market, and say, hey, I am certain, I try to give probabilities. If you come in at price X, you have a 98% certainty of winning this. If you come in at Y, it drops to 90. If you come in at Z, it drops to 80%. Here's the information. I suggest if you want to win this property, here are the offer terms. So what I'm talking about is I am telling the buyer what to do. I'm not asking for their opinion.
Sure.
I'm the expert, right? And with that, you have to be able to understand two things is when you're offering in a multiple offer situation, your needs and wants matter, but you have to ask the question of the list agent, hey, what is important to your seller? Of course, it's going to be money, but oftentimes they're coming to the transaction with whatever baggage they have.
Sure.
Maybe they've gotten bit in the past with a bad mortgage. Maybe close date is super important. Maybe they've got kids in school and they need to wait it out till August. Maybe they need a rent back. But you really need to become extremely clear on what's important to the seller so that you can develop an offer package. It's not just price, an offer package that's super compelling to the seller.
And when you send an offer, we're talking about asking the seller's agent to give you an idea of what they're looking for, what their concerns are, and even sort of what their avatar is of the perfect buyer, right?
Yeah.
You want to know, is it a family? Is it an individual? Of course, we want to respect all the laws and make sure that we're doing this. But the idea is we want to know what they are inclined to be excited about, I guess. And my question is, so now that we know, okay, we have a somewhat of a recipe for what we think they're looking for, I'm curious about the pure aesthetics of sending in the offer. Is there anything that you recommend people do to zhuzh up the actual physical document not electronic, of course, but what are we doing to make it at least look a little different from everyone else?
It's really funny you said that. I just had this conversation right before coming in where someone is offering, and I'm a little bit crazy. I want to make it as easy as possible for the seller's agent to actually read, like bullet points and bolds, and make it really, really simple. Like it's essentially an outline of the offer terms, right? And I want them to be able to discern it very quickly and be able to communicate it to their seller simply. And whether the list agent knows or not, I'm going to have a better space in their head. Like, oh, I want to work with this person. That was very clear. So
you create a separate page that's just a bullet points.
In an email, we're saying, hey DJ, thank you so much for showing. I'd like to present the offer terms, and then you have the offer terms, and I'm literally bullet pointing A, B, C, D, list price, mortgage terms, earnest money, if it's as is, appraisal gap waiver, etc.
So before they even get to the document.
Yeah, and then I have all of the documents, but I've already summarized it for you. So if you're, what people are doing now in a multiple offer situation, if they're on the list side, they have a spreadsheet and here are other terms so that they can line it up side by side. But more, okay, so then so we've already set the buyer's expectations. We've explained that there's an offer package and exactly how much or exactly what they need to do to win it. And then I think the third biggest thing is, I'll tell you a story. I've been on the list side where I've received multiple offers. I'm going to just make some assumptions. Let's say in the 100 offers, let's call it the 500 offers I received last year across every single property we listed, what percentage of the time did I hear from the buyer's agent via text or call?
I would assume, so you get the email, they're going to send the email with the offer. I'm curious, before we get to that, I am curious how many people even do a bullet point list in the email. What percentage
most of the time it's, here's the offer attached.
Yeah, here's
Thanks.
the PDF.
Yep.
Right. Okay, so now we're getting past. So almost no one's
But
even doing that.
I don't actually care about. I care about that. I think you should be presenting it in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so now we get to who's
communicating with me.
Is the buyer actually reaching out to the seller and
the buyer's agent reaching out to the seller's agent? Yeah.
Buyer's agent. So what percentage? I would assume in a competitive environment, which last year it was, I would say a third.
Yeah. 20. I was going to say a quarter, and I'm shooting from the hip.
Why isn't it 100%? I don't know.
And I'm telling you, I want to work with people who are excited about their job.
Yeah.
And who want to win for their buyer. Because if they're just going to limp in, guess what? They're going to limp in through inspection. They're going to limp in through attorney review. They don't care. I want to have someone who's engaged with me, a cooperating broker, so that we can get to the finish line together. That our expectations are we're on the same page throughout this entire transaction. Frankly, someone I like. You're going to be in bed with this other agent for typically 30 or 45 days. I want to enjoy my effing life.
Probably a good idea to make nice with them and also to develop a relationship. So what does that call look like? What are some best practices?
It's as simple as I think there needs to be 2 conversations with the other agent minimum. Of course, you're there with the showing, I think that's a really good chance. Like, hey, I've never done a deal with you before. My name is Ben. We're likely going to offer what's important to your seller. I think that conversation needs to occur in person if possible.
Sure.
Set that aside. If your buyer does want to offer, I think then it's a call and say, hey, DJ, I don't know if you remember me. My name is Ben. I was there with the husband, wife, and 2 kids. And my buyers really love this property. Can you tell me anything that's super important to your seller so that I can, create a compelling offer package for them?
Right.
And, I'm going to try and pry.
Right, sure.
I'm not afraid to say, hey, what's it going to take to win this thing?
Sure.
Okay, cool, done. Then once you offer, hey, DJ, I just wanted to let you know that the offer is in your inbox. We're really excited about doing this deal with you. Let me know if there's anything that I need to tweak. I know it's multiple offer situation, but I'm sorry, DJ. I'm probably going to call you, probably 30 minutes before the deadline. I'm going to ask the question, hey, what does it take? That's how bad I want this for my buyer. And I want to show you just how eager I am to get this to the closing table with you. Nobody's going to be able to get this to the closing table quite like me.
What percentage of agents do you think that are representing buyers have that exact sort of energy when they bring in? Like you're on the list side a lot. So how often do you get that?
We're on the buy side still more often.
Yeah.
I'm not getting that call.
Rarely?
Yeah, it's rare. It's super rare. And when I'm on the list side and I get that call from a buyer's agent, well, I'm like, oh, thank God, someone has coached this person.
Someone gives a shit.
Yeah, somebody cares. Yeah. I want to work with that person. And, I actually hate when the other, there's an offer just in a PDF and no communication, and it's better.
Yeah.
I hate it. I'm like, I don't want to work with this person.
Yeah.
I know that they haven't coached their buyer the right way. They haven't been coached as an agent themselves. And now I'm going to have to be doing just more work. It's just going to be harder for me.
I'll tell you a story. I was in a jury. I was actually the what do they call the person who actually is in charge of the jury, the foreperson, or
I think that's right.
Whatever it is. And I was on this case. It was a really simple insurance thing. It was an accident. It was a car accident. It was really, the details aren't important, but it was a very clear-cut case. And one of the attorneys was really disagreeable and not likable. And that was the one representing the insurance company, who was clearly in the right. Then the defense attorney, or I guess defense, was this really bubbly, younger woman. She was kind, she was nice, you could tell she was a good human being, and she had a losing case, and she wasn't going to win. And so we went into the deliberation room, and we had to find for the insurance company, but you could see in all of us, like, we liked her better.
Yeah.
And so when we got to it, we had to sort of say, we were looking for reasons to let her win, but she couldn't win because we had to do our job. But it was a true hurdle that we had to get over, which was funny, because I would just think, I'll be perfectly logical. I won't even care about who's presenting the information. But it does matter who's presenting the information. So this is actually a really great point that people just find. There's a different energy to when somebody's really excited and eager and is like literally on top of things.
And, I wish somebody was in my ear when I was younger. Frankly, I've made enemies with other agents because I didn't know what I was doing when I was younger.
Sure.
As I'm learning, it took a really long time to become, we're the number 7 team in the entire city. It took a long time to get there and to learn how important the relationships with other agents are. But, I cracked a few eggs to get here, unfortunately. And I wish, hey, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I didn't know any better. And, that's why you need a coach or someone to steer you. So, I don't know how much time we have left, but let's wrap it up. It's expectation setting. It is making sure that the offer package is tight and explaining to your buyer what you should be offering. And then the third thing is making sure that you have crystal clear, high quality communication with the seller's agent. If you do those 3 things, the likelihood of your offer getting accepted increases, dramatically.
And we're not talking about texting. Maybe you can text but we're talking about lots of phone calls. We're talking about calling the listing agent. Hey, want to make sure you receive this. We're really excited. Maybe sending a text as well. How often because a lot of times buyers agents go, I don't want to bother the list agent. They're getting all these multiple offers. I don't want to be annoying. What do you think?
I think just by definition of it's not happening.
Right.
It's not happening. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
We have these. I have multiple offers right now. Nobody's called. We have 4 offers. Nobody's called.
That's crazy.
Is it? It's apparently the norm.
Well, they say it's never crowded along the extra mile, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I want to, and I don't know, I don't want to have a conversation with Matt Larissy and like bug his ass, but he wants that call.
Sure.
I'm telling you, he wants that
and
call.
You want that call.
Yeah. I want to make sure that my counterpart is ready to get this to the closing table. I tell this to sellers all the time. It doesn't matter if somebody goes $500K over ask if they can't get to the closing table. Right. And you want to have a buyer who has an agent that can get to the closing table. And this is, I think, the problem now. We hear a little bit more as we're getting these buyers representation agreements signed. I could represent myself.
Sure.
I'm like, yeah, you can, but the seller's agent and the seller, they don't want to work with you because the perception is that the likelihood of you getting to the closing table, I would argue it's half. That's my perception.
Yeah.
Because there's a process and there's a status quo of how a transaction should go, and they just don't know that status quo.
Yeah, I love that. You're really sort of changing the paradigm, or there's a paradigm shift here, which has been going on for a long time, but a lot of agents have been slow to adopt, which is the buyer's agents really aren't there to find the property. Like, the client can find the property, right? MLS is everywhere. It's not under lock and key anymore. It's still important, of course, that the buyer's agent listens and knows what they're looking for and presents great ideas. Yes. But I would assume, and I'm curious too, how often does a buyer come to one of your team members or yourself with already a list of properties they want to go see? Like,
often.
Is it like half or more than half?
Let me tell you a story that's a microcosm of everything we're talking about. We have this client, and they were very upfront with me. I'm going to list their home after they go out and find a property on their own.
Yeah.
And I was like, no problem. I'm here for you. You let me know if I can help you on the buy side in any way. They go off for 3 months.
They don't ask you for any help at all.
No.
They're like, we got this.
We got this. And
we have Zillow.
And honestly, they're smart people. They're really smart.
Sure.
And if there's ever buyers that I thought could get it done, I'm like, yeah, I understand that's something that you want to do, you want to save this 2.5% in your head, go for it. 3 months go by and I get a call and they're like, we've offered on properties. Like we had our attorney drafted up. I, the consumer, sent it to the list agent. I just don't get a call back. I don't get any communication. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not surprised. Your offer A probably wasn't good enough. Like B, the perception is that
You don't know what you're doing.
Or yeah, you may think you know what you're doing,
Right.
but there's nuance here in how it goes down. Okay, so what happens? Hey Ben, come represent me. I already have this house and I know it's going to go multiple offers. Happens to be a friend of mine who's the list agent.
Sure.
And this is in Highland Park. Hey, friend, what's it going to take? This is what it's going to take, Ben. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to get it over to you as soon as my clients give me the indication that this is the property. Sound good? Cool. I'll let you know what it's going to take if it's close. Under contract.
Awesome.
And that is everything that I just expressed to you. So when my client called me, I'm like, okay, let's sit down. I'm going to tell you exactly how this is going to go. All right, cool. This is how it's going to go. Number 2, I'm going to tell you this is what it's going to take to win. Let's offer that. You know, they agreed with me. We offered. 3, I have a really great relationship with this agent. I'm like, hey man, I'm going to get this to the closing table come hell or high water. If not, we're going to have a conversation about why, but my clients are educated and we're going to get the closing table together. Let's do it. And they're under contract.
And we didn't even talk about making sure that the lending partner is the right partner too. That's also something super important because people can shop for rates online and find really impressive rates that may not be backed by a company that can get to the closing line as easily as somebody locally who's there.
You have to have a team.
Yeah.
We have 3 or 4 lenders that we've just vetted over 12 years. Attorneys that
You know
we've
who
vetted.
gets deals closed.
Yeah, let's get them. Like for an attorney, we're not trying to like hide anything from our buyers or sellers, but there are certain things that just aren't a big deal. There's a bedside manner that needs to be followed. And the lender, not all lenders are created equal. Like go get us the money. That's your only job. Now don't put us in a product that is shitty, but get us to the closing table. And the same thing with it. I mean, inspectors are the worst. Like you have an alarmist. It's not the inspector's job to tell your client to buy or not buy the property. I can't tell you how many times I've had an inspector in the past like, oh, this property, I would never touch this thing. It's like, okay, cool. Your job is to tell me what's wrong with it.
Right.
I'll go get this. If it needs 75 grand, I'll go get the 75 grand for my clients. Stay in your lane, inspector.
Yeah.
Right. So those are the inspectors. We don't want alarmists. We want people who are going to point out everything and shine a light on everything that's wrong. And that's it. It's our job and the attorney's job to talk through repairs and credits. Stay in your lane.
I think this is really a great episode. I think hopefully our audience is paying attention or listening for one of the top teams here in Chicago, one of the top markets in the country. Ben is one of the top teams in one of the top markets, and he knows what he's doing. He is, by the way, always looking for agents as well who might be able to bring value to his team, and could do vice versa with you. So if you're an agent, you're looking to join a team, or maybe you're not getting the attention you need from your existing team or your existing firm, Ben, what's the best way an agent should reach out to you?
I always say, if you can't find me, I did a really horrible job marketing myself. So you can find me.
Ben.lalez team on Instagram, and ben.lalez.com.
That's right.
Is the website. And also, too, we have lots of listeners who are not in the Chicagoland area. In fact, most of our audience is not here. So if you have people that are moving to and from the Chicago area, Ben and his team would love to have conversations with you, because not only do those go one way, they also, people don't often retire in Chicago. They leave Chicago and they go somewhere warmer. So if you are in one of those markets that are fed from Chicago, when people get second homes or vacation properties or just retirement situations, reach out to Ben, and he has people he needs to refer as well.
That's right. Thank you, DJ.
Thank you.
Man.
And for everyone listening, really appreciate. Please check out our sponsors. They're the reason we can keep doing our show. We love our sponsors, and we love all of our listeners for making it all the way to the end of the episode. We just asked for 2 quick things. 1, tell a friend. Think of one other agent that needs to hear what Ben just gave you a great recipe for winning in multiple offer situation. Do him a favor and do us a favor. Send this podcast link out to someone else in your office that could really hear this information and maybe not even the first time. Maybe they need a refresher. This is a great refresher. Send it to them. And then And also leave us a review wherever you're listening to this episode or watching it. Let us know what you think of the show, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever. Let us know, leave us a review, and we read those and we make changes based on your suggestions. And with that being said, thank you, Ben. On behalf of the audience and on behalf of Ben and myself, thank you to the audience. We will see everybody on the next episode. Thanks.
See you next month.